English. How's the sound? Danny McRae, JP Racing, Annie B. Hi Annie. E-Man Sham, yo. How you doing? Right. 40k walk, Paul. No comment. Shelved it. A bit of work to do today, so I think that'll be probably starting tomorrow about midday, and that'll get me in to Career Bothy at a nice time for an overnighter, and then I'll walk out. And, I'll either walk back out and do it later in the week, the big walk, but I'll do tomorrow maybe 18 to 20, maybe 21, 22 at a push, but it'll be 18, 20 kilometres anyway. It's not massive. Yeah, I need to plan it a little. I need to put a little plan on. Stick to it. Is everyone well? Most importantly. Big Billy, how you doing, my man? Is everyone well? It's important that you answer honestly. Tell you why. I say to a lot of people when I meet them, I say, how's the head? They look at you suspiciously. What do you mean? I've got a sore throat by this, you need to bear with me. I say, how's the head? Hi, Kelly. And they go, what are you asking that for? And I say, well, because everyone says, how's it going? It's a Scottish thing. How's it gone? Or how you doing? And everybody goes, I'm doing fine. It's a generic answer to a generic question. So I started to ask people, how's the head? They go, they respond with suspicion. Why? Why do we need to be suspicious about a genuine question? It's hanging well, Brad. Why do we need to be suspicious about a genuine question, okay? So, there's no need. Because if you look physically fine to me, okay, if you look physically fine, then I'm not suspicious about any part of you, but I want to know how your head is. I want to know how things inside. Okay? Hi, Izzy. Positive vibes. How you doing? So I ask, how's the head? And an odd person will give you an honest answer. I'll say, well, and I say, I'll sometimes ask it again. I'll go, no, how's the head? How's things here? Well, it's not an invasion of your privacy if it's meant with genuine intention and, and genuine concern. If the intent's genuine, then it's not an invasion of your privacy. So the next time you meet your mate, ask them how their head is. It's cold in this fan. See the steam? So less generic questions and more questions with intent, because we're all running out of time, guys. How you doing, Mads? We're all running out of time, and I don't have time to waste with silly questions and idle, empty chat. I want to know quickly how you are. I want to know that life's treating you fairly. I want to know that you're, getting up and at 'em, and I want to know if you need a punt up. Because if someone trusts you enough, they'll tell you how they are genuinely. They'll genuinely say, well, do you know something? Really struggling now, the chips are against me. And you can then take it from there. Sure you can. So, ask with intention the next time you ask someone how they are, and don't just go through the motions. because that's kind of pointless. We've all been guilty of going through the motions. It's not it's pointless. Doesn't achieve anything. You can say, well, I'm just being civil. I'm just being polite. Polite's pointless. Jojo, how you doing, Jojo? Hope you're well, mate. So the next time you see a friend, ask that friend how they are, and mean it. You know, have some intention, and just say to that friend that, you know, talk to me, elaborate, press them a little bit, and they might just, you know, they might just come out with something that opens up the floodgates, and they may have needed someone to ask them the question and not the generic version of how you doing. So hit somebody up, and if you think they're struggling, and if you think they need a little elbow or a little bump, give them a bump. No harm in it. No harm in it at all. Certainly not an invasion of my privacy. Not a lot of people ask me how I am. You guys ask me how I am, and less than 5% of you, you know, probably know me. So thank you. Okay, let's move on. Hi Susan. How's things how's things out in the outside world? I've stopped looking at a lot of stuff because the narrative, the destruction of the true narrative is back, you know, in all its abundance. Who the leader's going to be? I'm the leader. I'm the leader in my universe. In the universe of Alex, I'm the leader. And I follow my own guidelines and my own intuition. Try do no harm to anyone, and request that no harm's done to you. Common law, the law of the land. The law of the land supersedes anything. The law of the land. There's a great film, Richard Harris. It's called The Field. It's an incredible film, based in the times of hardship in Ireland. And he was brought up picking the rocks from a field with his father, you know, and they watched their mother die there, and it was this field, this laboured field was all they had. And they nurtured that field back to life. So the only living thing in the world that they knew was this field. And the woman that owned the field one day decided to sell it. And there's a great speech, if you go on YouTube, you'll see it, about outsiders coming in to buy this field, and how the Bill McCabe, which was his name, was going to fight until the death over this field, because this field was his field, you know, and it was what it meant to him. But the object wasn't about the field, it was about the thing. It was about the thing that someone can take away just like that. If you sit back and do nothing, then you are the very number that these people wish to monetize and motorize and work you till your death and all the rest of it. And they wish to exploit you. I won't go down that tangent just now. But watch The Field and watch the Bill McCabe speech. It's an incredible speech. A truly incredible speech, no matter which side of the fence or anything you sit on. It's an incredible speech from an incredible actor. And it is about living things and how we view them. And it is about the things we hold dearest and that are of most value to us, and how far you are prepared to go to fight for them. And there was times in my life I never fought hard enough. And there were other times in my life I fought too hard. Today it's all about balance, but the fight remains the same. The fighter is still inside me. The fight is still inside me, and the ability and the being prepared to take the fight on is still inside me in abundance, absolutely in abundance. That's a fire that I don't believe will ever go out. Maybe old age or injury will quell its flames, but for now, the fire rages in my belly. All I try to do now is pick my battles more carefully. But I still find comfort in battle and conflict. I still find relative comfort in conflict. That's not to the understanding of everyone, however. Those who are alike me will get it entirely. It's just the way we're made. I love a cup of tea. There's a great book. Herman Melville, Moby Dick. Great book. Tremendous book. Well worth a read. Let me check the comments quickly. Mum, you can't tell them that. Mrs. Kearney. Now listen, if that was Mrs. Kearney, and if you knew my mum, you would know her name's Mary. Everybody calls her Mary. Nobody calls my mum Mrs. Kearney. So don't be a dumpling. Nice try, but yeah, if you get the chance on YouTube or anything, watch The Field. You have to watch The Field. And a thing about trolls is they're very like the people that wish to be somebody. You know, they're very like those people that wish to be in power and wish to govern and believe they're better than the masses and believe they're the exception to the rule, and that they're of some type of exceptional importance. You know, my hands are quite an odd shape for all the times that they were broken in the education of such people. Long time ago, when I was somebody else. But educating fools is relatively easy. We've made it easier for them to have platforms by inventing devices where they can hide. Eddie Hearn knows what I'm talking about. But when they're confronted with someone who's been around all their lives, it's a very different world. It's an uncomfortable place to be. That's when you experience an uncomfortable silence with such people. They all of a sudden lose the power of the English language. They become mute. M-U-T-E. They become mute very quickly. Those uncomfortable silences are very funny when they occur. I'm being a troll. I'm being sarcastic. I like fun and games. I like a bit of skullduggery now and again. I'm partial to it. But I'm a big believer in the education of idiots. Everyone deserves a chance. I can be teacher and tutor. So is everyone well? I hope you are. Jojo, it's good to hear from you, mate. I hope you're doing well down in the south side. Jojo's a good guy, good Glasgow man. Genuine bloke. One of those decent guys. Dot, nice to see you in the chat. Well, guys, the reason I do these things, these videos, right? I put a little thank you out on the community page just to let you know that I'm grateful. And that's genuinely meant, okay? I'm a nutter, Eddie, you're right. When I want to be a nutter, I can be the nuttiest of nutters. I can do it with a straight face as well. Yeah, I actually said the other day that I've lost my sense of humour, but I think I've still got one. I think I've still got one. Definitely get one when I've got a gum shield in, that's for sure. The disangelic face, condone anything like that? Never. I need to be careful, my mum's in the chat. She always said I had a lovely smile. I am a miserable sod, Polly, you're right. So, why did I do these videos? Let me enlighten you. Susan knows me. She knows the crack. She knows I've got a sense of humour. Sometimes. Don't comment, Susan. Arr, my Popeye expression. Hi, Catherine. So, I now feel, and I could be wrong, and I could be taking this too serious. I now feel that myself, how you doing, Peter? And some like us who are trying very hard to find a truer trajectory, DC, guys like that, we are cut from a certain cloth where we're a wee bit rough round the edges at times in our life. And I think the professions that we choose verify that. They're kind of honest professions where you break a sweat, but you're prepared to put the graft in to put some bread on the table. Any working guys kind of cut that way. And I'll do anything to put bread on the table. It's not relevant to me what it is. If I have to get a brush and sweep the high street with a bin bag, as long as the bread's on the table, I'm absolutely fine with that. Because only a fool would judge a man for trying to put bread on the table. You getting me? Only a fool would judge any guy trying to feed his children, however they exist. So I believe that because we've built up these wee platforms, that if I now nosedive, or I go left or right, or I hit the wall, or I inadvertently backpedal and let the side down, then I've failed. I took this journey on, and I took it on publicly for a number of reasons. One of them being to put myself under the correct kind of pressure. It is a pressure that I looked for. When people are scrutinising you, you have to conduct yourself in a decent manner, which I think I've got a decent manner off camera anyway. Some of the people in the chat know me personally. I think I've got a decent manner anyway. So I try and conduct myself properly, and I try and live decently. You won't see me going down the road kicking somebody's car or drunk, or being abusive online, writing abusive stuff on. I'm not into it. I'm not in any way a fan of that life. So I've put myself under public scrutiny because I don't fear critique, finger wagging, slanderous, untruths, slanderous comments. Anyone that wants to badmouth you can. I'm fine with it. What I'm looking for is decent people to comment on me, and I can learn more from them. You don't learn nothing from an idiot. They're 10 a penny. But decent people with a decent, a well thought out critique can teach you an awful lot about yourself if you're prepared to listen. You have to be prepared to listen. So when somebody says to me, you're good at this, but sometimes you're a wee bit unclear with this, or you need to be more, or, sometimes my brain is quite kind of high functioning, kind of fast moving, and I can go in tangents. I get that, but I know that you bear with me. So I think that by putting myself in this platform, I now feel, I'll be honest with you, I now feel an obligation to people on my channel, to people that have put their trust in me, like Dot, like my pal Susan, like Jojo, you know, people that I like and respect that have put their trust in me to carry the message and continue to grow and build something worthwhile. And I know folk drop in once a week for a wee chat and a wee catch up, 15, 20 minutes, and I hope that they leave better for it, because there's good people in the group, and the membership revolves around them. You know, people that actually don't just watch from the sidelines but contribute. And I know that not everyone's got the confidence to contribute, and but we're getting there, and there are regular contributors, and it's really, really appreciated when folk take the time to come in and talk and tell me, you know, I wish you would do more of this or less of that, or don't get involved in this. And by the way, I read all those comments, and I know some of you know what I'm talking about. There's some stuff goes on YouTube that I am part of for very good reason, but I never ever bring it onto this channel. I don't clickbait it, I don't hashtag it, I just don't. It's too negative a subject, but it's a subject that for now requires me to be involved in it. I just have to be. There's an allowance for that. There's always an allowance for bad people. It's just life, guys. So that's enough about that. But so I've put myself on here because I enjoy doing it, and I like sharing it. And I know that when I go back into the mountains and stuff, I like to read the comments where people say, I'll never get up a mountain, you know, age, or maybe an an injury, or just old age, or something else that stops them. And I love to be able to share the beautiful summits, you know, Buccleuch of Moher, Anakiga, Antilac, just these incredible, stunning places, Assynt, Sylvan, Torridon, that folk will never see. A lot of people don't know where they are, so I try and make sure my geography is decent and try and give them a bit of what I'm standing on, you know, what it's made of, how it occurred, just a little bit of interesting stuff. And people comment and say, I really enjoyed this. This was a nice thing to sit and watching it. It really cheered me up. See that? That's worth its weight in gold, by the way. Sometimes climbing these mountains is not enjoyable. The sweat is horrific. You are literally killing yourself. Your hips are giving you mega pain. But you know, I've got to go up there because people are relying on the video at the end of the night, and you know, people want to see the summit. They want to see the sunset. They want to see the sunrise. They want to see me freezing my bollocks off. Excuse the term. And you know, they want a bit of humour. So that's why I do it. I really enjoy doing it. You know, it's not it's not a walk in the park, but I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy the very extreme side of it as well. But I'm going to be giving you that content again very shortly. I've been sorting the kit out actually in the past couple of hours, getting the kit ready and stuff, and squaring things up, you know, getting batteries refreshed, getting head torches squared up, compasses, you know, brushing up on everything, sharpening knives, just squaring kit away, putting new laces in boots, stuff that you forget about that people take for granted. You don't want a broken lace, you know, 20 miles out somewhere. You just don't want it. It's a nightmare. So preparation's key. Checking zips on kit bags, waxing kit up, everything. So much preparation to get it right. And the more preparation, the less chance there is of anything going wrong. And I always like to be prepped. That's something I have been thinking about, Eddie. But you know, I've got Eddie's asked me if I would be interested in doing the BKB at 45. Maybe do a wee kind of, you know, a wee demo fight, something like that. Problem is I think I've had about 20 odd fractures in that hand over the year, as you can see. It's very, very badly broken many times, and as you can see, most of both sides are no great, especially for bare knuckle, would be horrific. However, you know, however, I do like it. So I get back onto the content. Going to do some. I'm going to give you some great stuff up around Loch Maree and that with the kayaks, and down around here. I planned a little route this morning. It involves some kayaking, then a little insertion yomp up the Larry Grew, and some interesting stuff. I'm going to have a little camp in some of the woodland up there, and I'll probably do a catch, clean, cook or something. I've got a little area as well where I'm going to do a bit of foraging. I found some nice wild fruit and stuff like that, and some bits and bobs. Mushrooms, I've been keeping my eye on them. They're nearly ready. I thought they would be ready sooner, but not quite. So we'll get on to that, guys. And again, I hope that I can bring you some interesting stuff going into the winter, while catching up with some work and stuff, and you know, trying to put bread on the table and get children to pay for Christmas, stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to getting up in the mountains. I was talking to wee Charlie today. I just missed him. I missed him a couple of times the past few days. I'm going to have a sweet. My throat's sore. Wee Jakeman's sweet. I just missed him a couple of times. It's no Charlie, it's me. I'm a nightmare. I'm always here, there, or everywhere. So I'll catch him soon, I'm sure. I phoned him. Half the plastic in my mouth. That's fine. So I caught up with him. I think Jim's going to come up a day or two. Jim Smith. I'm going to try and take Jim out some kayaking. I'm not sure about taking him up the mountains. I don't want to kill him. But we will do a wee bit of walking, but I think he would enjoy the yakking better. He likes the water, he likes being out in the boat and stuff. Brother's a diver, so he's used to the water. Either way, we've got some good stuff coming. So that's why I do it. That's basically why I do it. I like the fact that people get to share it and enjoy it with you. And see places that they'll never see. Not everyone's going to get onto, you know, Biddy and Nambian in February up in Glencoe. It's very, very inaccessible. It's very remote. It's a difficult one, but it's absolutely this world. When I went on, can't remember where I was last year. I think I was on the Buckle. I picked an incredible day. I hung back for 3 or 4 days, and then the weather was phenomenal. Had the summit to myself. Outstanding. Snow was like glass, and I remembered a woman commenting. I can't remember who it was, but she thanked me for sharing it, and that it really made her night, and that she had done some climbing in the, 20, 30 years ago, but that she absolutely loved that mountain. And I think her dad had climbed it. It was a lot of reminiscing, and that really, really was nice to read that. Very grateful for that, because I think she was really, really chuffed with getting to see where her dad would have been all these years ago. It was something like that. I like that. That definitely makes it worth it. For sure it does. I'm going to try and watch the UFC tonight. Don't know if anybody watches the UFC, but I love it. I love it. Right, I'll quickly wander through the comments. Have a laugh, you're right, and stay away from that. No good. I'm good, Donny. Michael McGuinness, how you doing? Guys, I'm sorry if I've missed anybody. Peter Pollock, Peter, I got your nice comments. Thank you very much. I really appreciate what you said. Very grateful. Shaz Osborne, there's always room to learn, Shaz. When I was in, I'll tell you a story, Shaz. When I was in Ascent last year, I met an old guy, right? Had been on Sylvan. He was 87 or 88, and he was out. He'd been walking, and although he said he was too old to summit, the fact was he had done so many. He'd done some incredible climbing. He'd done 2 rounds of the Munros. For those that don't know, there's like 282, 283 Munros. It kind of goes up or down every other year when one gets marked up or down on meterage. And he was in his second round or third round. This is a guy that's been hill walking for 60 years plus, and he was an old gentleman, an old English gentleman. Fantastic speaker, super sharp brain. And I got talking to him. I kind of had the feeling he was going to be a gentleman, like an old professor or something, or a lecturer. Turns out he was a university lecturer. So we got talking, and I didn't want him to leave, right? I was like, oh, I'll need to keep quizzing him. Super knowledge, fantastic conversation, an absolute pleasure to speak to him. Once these old guys are gone, right, they're gone forever, and so is the knowledge they hold. So I really enjoyed talking to him, and I told him that. I said, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I said, you're a true gentleman. Thanks for your time. He had a holiday home in Lochinver, and he had a holiday home in Devon, and he had renovated both. I did mention him in my Sylvan video, and he said Sylvan was his favourite classic climb, you know, and which it's mine also, I've said many times. And he said, I just wanted to come back and walk out and see it, because walking to Sylvan, it's an incredible landscape, Ascent, Inverpolly Nature Reserve. And once you get out to Sylvan, it sits like a hump. It's a formation of rock. It looks like a resting elephant. And then you've got Canisp, and then all the way over there you've got Stack Polly. That's the trio in Ascent. Phenomenal landscape. It's incredible. There's nowhere like it in the UK. It's a very, very different landscape to anywhere you'll see in the UK. This old guy loved it. His passion was phenomenal. Telling me about renovating houses for his income. Worked all his days, and he was getting a nice revenue from them. He was enjoying his retirement. And I said to him, listen, do you want to go up Sylvan? Oh, well, I'm thinking about it. And I said, well, if you want to go up, I says, I've done it. I've come off today. I summited last night. I says, I'll carry your kit. It would be a real pleasure to carry your kit for you. I'll take you up, or you can lead, but I'll carry the gear. And he had a laugh, and he said, thank you. He says, but if you don't mind, I'd like to carry my own gear. But he didn't have the time. He was going back down the road, and he thought he wanted to see it one last time. It was as if he knew that maybe he had been getting on and the end of his life was coming. He says, I just wanted to see her one last time, because I don't know if I'll be up in the next year or two. It was quite sad. But in a way, you know, remove the sadness from it, which is a natural emotion. It was also quite powerful, because he totally inspired me. He inspired me to be a better person, because he was just a gentleman. You could tell this guy's went through his life being a gentleman. He's done no wrong to anybody. He's maybe never lived, you know, on the other side of the fence like I have at times in my life. And he was a very intelligent man. And I wasn't blessed with being a scholar, or I have to search for intelligence, you know. I have to go and search for it and inspire myself to learn. Just a great human being. Our meeting wasn't long enough. That's what I mean. It didn't last long enough. I wanted more time with this man. This man was just an incredible human being. His knowledge of the British Isles was absolutely phenomenal. He would put any television personality or any of these BBC experts to shame. any of these apparent experts with teams of 50 editors behind them, feeding them information through a amazing guy. I'd love to meet him again, but I don't know if I will. It's unlikely. So when you're up in the mountains, you meet some awesome people. When I walked the West Highland Way 20 odd years ago, I met a woman who's a school teacher. She was about 70, and she was unbelievably fit, and I walked a day with her. I think I walked Rannoch Moor with her. I'm sure I did Rannoch Moor, Bridge of Orchy. I cracked on by the Black House, by the King's House. I can't remember, but I think it was Rannoch Moor. And we had a great day talking. And I was in the Royal Marines at the time, and she was asking me about my service and where I was and stuff. And I think I'm going to say I had just returned from my first or second tour in Sierra Leone during the Civil War in Freetown. And I went out in late October for a third tour. I was the only man in the unit of about 650 Royal Marines who put his hand up and volunteered to go for the third tour. Nobody wanted to go back. I put my hand up like a donut. Sergeant Major looked at me and just went, "Might have known you'd go." He gave me the rest of the day off, and then he started pinging people for it. Always a glutton for punishment. Always the hard way. Everything in my life I've done it the hard way. Always. I think because I wanted to. Anyway, life goes on. If we were all the same, it would be a very boring world, wouldn't it? Gary Taz Carroll, how you doing, my man? Gaz, I might come and see you tomorrow. There you go. You might be getting a visitor. So there you go, guys. A wee story about the man I met in Assynt. Assynt's in the very northwest Highlands. It's Inverpolly Nature Reserve. The Inverpolly Estate is its lesser known title. And you also have the Dundonald Estate, which is Fisherfield Forest. Fisherfield Forest's incredible. So they're two places, if you ever get the opportunity and you want to go really truly off the beaten track and into the last wilderness of Scotland, go to Assynt or go to Fisherfield. You've got the Fisherfield 6, the Fisherfield 4, or the Fisherfield 6 if you really want, which are Munros, and you've got Shenaval Bothy out in Fisherfield, which is, world famous. And thank you, Twisted Tea. And it's an incredible environment. Fisherfield's an incredible environment. Honestly, it's mind blowing. I walked across it last year, and I never felt so insignificant in all my life. Mother Nature lets you know you are that size and that you don't matter. And that's why I do it, right? That's why something bit me there. It was a zip off that pillow. Yeah. Fisherfield at Dundonald is just, it's magical. It's absolutely magical. The way the light comes down, and it's a long walk out, and when you're out there at Shenaval, there's sometimes people out there at the Bothy. It's quite popular, but when you go beyond it to the Munros, you're really on your own, and you have to know what you're doing out there, because help's not coming. You don't stumble across a phone box or a post office. There's nothing out there. It's completely uninhabited. But that's what makes it so interesting. It's the test. It's all about the test. And You know, that thing there over my shoulder, that is the commando dagger of the Royal Marines. You see? So I confirmed and I verified myself to myself a long time ago. How you doing, Frankie? By taking that test. I just went for that test. I just said, well, that's the one for me. That's the bad boy. That's the hard one. So that's where I'm going. Gary Carroll, Parachute Regiment, French Foreign Legion. Say no more. We decided to test ourselves the hardest way that we could. You don't get to sit in the classroom. That's not what happens. So I verified myself to myself. I wanted to know. I either go down here and come back with that green beret, or I go back to where I'm from and tell everybody I'm a failure. It's not happening. And ever since that day, I've had the same mentality. Follows you through life. I tell myself regularly, that's not happening. That's it. Mare per terram, by sea, by land. That's what you do in tricky paratus. You just go and do something that tests you, and you will very soon have your answers. Now, that's not for everyone, but you can test yourself by doing something. And remember a couple of days ago when I said, even if your mountain is getting out of your bed in the morning, getting washed and getting dressed and putting one foot out that front door and forcing the other one to follow it, then you've climbed your mountain for the day. Your mountain doesn't need to be Ben Nevis or Sylvain or Anakiga. Your mountain can be unlocking that front door and getting out there. So if you're climbing your mountains, if you're doing your absolute best to put one foot in front of the other and get out that door, you're winning. You're succeeding. Don't let anyone tell you different. And if there's anyone around you telling you different, tell them to get on their bike. There you go. Thanks, Richie. Have a good night, mate. Cheers. You understand, guys? Annie's asking me a personal question. Do you do things to prove it to yourself or other people? Absolutely not, Annie. When I was a young guy joining the Marines, it was about myself, but it was about other people as well. Today, it is all about me. Let me elaborate slightly. I'm in competition with myself. Hi, Pollyanna. How are you? I'm in competition with myself, Annie. I want to know what I'm capable of doing every year of my life. So I don't ever let 7 days go by without testing myself. Be it press-ups, be it anything. I don't let 7 days go by without doing something physically exerting. I kind of try and have a 3-day rule in that. Don't go over 3 days without physically busting your body. Try and get yourself motivated every third day. Don't let it go over 3 days or it becomes a habit. It takes 3 days to create a habit. It can take 3 weeks to break the habit. Don't fall into the trap. I live a very simple mantra, 3-day rule. Every 7 days I like to test myself physically, properly. Physically and mentally. I'm in competition with myself. I'm not interested in what anyone thinks of me unless it's legitimate critique about maybe this. Alex, you could do better if you speak slower or just clear, any critique is welcomed, but slander is not. Ridiculous, pointless slander. I'm never disrespectful to anyone. I've got good manners, and I know I've got good manners. I'm known for having good manners, so I don't expect anyone to be firing bullets at me for no reason, you know, so I will respond if that happens. But thankfully, it's very rare. So to answer your question, Annie, I'm in competition only with myself. And I want my kids to say, you know, maybe at times I didn't get this right and I didn't get that right, but I tried my best in the later stages to correct things and give a good account of myself and be fit for them should they ever need me, and be usable to them should they ever need me. I don't want to be a overweight dad that's unfit, that can't walk properly. You know, and that's not a slight on anyone that is falling into that way of living. It's just not for me. You know, it's not for me. I will do everything in my power to remain usable to my kids and those people that need me. I'm no good to anybody if I can't provide. I'm no good to anybody if I can't physically motivate myself and put one leg in front of the other and, you know, be a man, I suppose. I'm just trying, you know, I'm trying to be the best version of myself every day. So I'm 45. It'd be easy to give up and like have a big beer belly and say, I'm retired, you know, I don't. No, no. That's an excuse. And I'm not making any excuses because they're the easy way out. And I've never taken the easy way out of anything. It's not what I do. I don't take the easy way out. The easy way out is for 99%. I'm in the 1%, right? I'm in the 1%. I'm going I'm going that way. You guys can go that way. That's fine. You can see the finish line. It's down there. I want to know what's over there in the dark forests. So, the spirit of adventure, you can never see the end. You got to go and find it and search for it. And the beaten track, the well-worn path is usually a boring one. As I say, guys, the way I live is not for everybody. And some folk come here and listen because it's not for everybody, but they do like listening to somebody that does live by that mantra, but they can't because circumstances dictate that. I've always fought against circumstances, and I've always fought against outcomes and laws of averages and all the rest of it. I've always fought against it. I don't want to be a product of circumstance. I don't want to be statistically aligned to 99.9% of the population. I don't want to be statistically aligned to any mass label or any mass group of people. I want to try and leave a mark and be able to say, maybe only to myself at the end of the race, that my life was worth living, and that anyone that wanted to know me might say it was worth knowing him as well. You know, not because I'm a special person, but because I maybe brought a little bit of light into their life, or maybe because I was there to help them with something that was maybe just a bigger mountain than they were able to kind of get up. Sometimes you just need a punt up in life. So yeah, you can start training at any age, Susan. You can start training. The human body is an incredible, incredible tool. You can, thank you, Twisted Tea. I appreciate that as well. You can become something, and with the right conviction and the right approach. Remember what I tell you all the time: change your mindset. Adapt your mindset to your goals. Don't live by someone else's mantra or their bull or their, right? All these gurus talking rubbish, right? Do not fall into that trap. All they're going to do is give you low self-esteem, right? Just don't fall into that trap, guys, of looking at someone else that's succeeding and judging yourself against them. One or two of these people are extremely rare human beings. They're in the 1% of the 1%, exceptionally genetically gifted, you know, very, very high function and high motivation, extreme drive. They're just very rare human beings. Other ones are backed by finance and teams and very clever social media. And people lap it up. I don't watch any of these people. Not in a disrespectful way, I just don't. It's on the Fleetwood Protection page, Twisted Tea. So I just don't. I want to be able to say that I lived, and I have lived. I've lived. I've lived quite an interesting life so far. There are times in my life that it could have been more interesting, because there are times in my life I wasted time in pubs. And although that's good at the time and it's fun and you're with your mates, there are large periods where, although we were working and earning money, we were, squandering it in pubs, just being Jack the lads, late 20s, wasted a lot of time. Time that I'm now trying to make up. Time you'll never get back. That's why I don't drink alcohol. I'm 7 years now away from it, and I've got no time for it. No time for standing in pubs. No time for talking rubbish. No time for crap. No time for nonsense. No time for making an arse of myself. No time for behaving like a clown. No time for negativity. No time for toxic circles of friends. I use that term loosely. No time for anything that is degrading to where I want to be. No time for anything that deviates me from my trajectory. I just don't. You're talking about getting back in the horses and doing your stuff. Get straight back to it. That's the thing you love. Get on it. Go. Don't wait. Don't give it another month. Do it. One man's wilderness. Yeah, brilliant, Richie. Brilliant. So, guys, I think I probably speak for most of you that we are all getting on some type of journey. And I think as a collective, it's important to communicate with each other and tell each other why we're doing these things. I have a darkness. I have dark clouds that have followed me a huge portion of my life. So I'm on my hoofs. I'm motoring forward because I prefer them being behind me. And when I slow down, they've got a habit of catching up with me. So I'm not allowing that. As long as I am able to fight, then I am in the fight. I'm never out of the fight. I remind myself first thing in the morning what's behind me all the time. My monster is right there. So I don't take anything for granted, and I maintain the momentum because my pal, the darkness, is right behind me. I'm not having him catching up with me. The minute I feel that hand nearly touching my shoulder, I move up a gear. So I have got very good reason for my momentum and the way I live and moving forward, and yeah, caught me once or twice before, believe me, but I'm outrunning them as we speak. So I have to be on my A game all of the time. So if I go and I get involved in drinking alcohol or something, and the old cogs start turning, no, it's no any use, because it could then cost me months of my life. Months that I don't have to spare. I've got no time to spare. I've got to achieve stuff for my own personal sanity, and so that my boys know that their dad wasn't a bum or a time waster, and that I didn't take them for granted, and that I wanted to show them the best version of myself, and that's difficult, but I have to do it. So we're all in a race against time, all of us. How you doing, Rob? So let's enjoy as much of it as we can and make it enjoyable and make it worthwhile. make it viable, make it productive, and make it, you know, make it interesting. Make your life an interesting one. Don't just go through the motions. Even if you're in not the best of health or shape, there are still things you can test yourself with, and you can reach out to people like me and people that are on this channel, and you can get inspired and you can get help, be it over a message or a call, or be it in person. You know, if I seen somebody that was really struggling and that wanted to go to a mountain or go and see, I would come and get them and take them, because what's one day of my life? It's nothing, but to that person it could be everything. It's no hassle. It's no hassle to get somebody and help them up somewhere. If it's a place they've always wanted to see, for instance, some folk have always wanted to go to Glencoe. They've never had the means or the, you know, what's the big deal about getting a van and half a dozen people and getting you up there and something like that, you know? It could be life changing for somebody. I see it all the time. I've lived in it for months, in the back of a van, but I could be taking that for granted. I don't take it for granted, because every day I wake up, I look at it, and again I feel that insignificance because it's so incredible. When you sleep in Glenetta Road and you wake up and, you know, Stob Derg staring at you, it lets you know who the boss is. So I love that. I love that feeling of saying, I'm going to climb you today, but you're the boss. So I have to respect you, and I can't take you for granted, and I can't look the other way, because you will very quickly let me know that you are the boss. You know, they'll just give you a scalp in the bum when you're not looking and you're not paying attention. And I kind of like that. I kind of like to know my place. Nature's my boss. My clock is set by nature. It has been my entire life. Wildlife, the elements, the seasons, my clock is set by nature. It always has been. Uh, and I will never stop. I will never change that. So, yeah, Susan, definitely. Let's get let's get you up one. You know, you've been talking about it for a while. I'm more than happy to get you up one. Get you on a summit camp. You'll love it. It's definitely worth it, because, and if you do get the right time of year where you get a cloud inversion, Glencoe can be incredible for them. They're mind blown. They're totally mind blown, and they're absolutely worth the effort. Cheers, Pollyanna. Thank you. So that's the crack, guys. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm in a good place. Took me a long time to get here. You know, I've always kind of been on that road, that kind of, you know, the other side of the street. But I'm getting there, and every day is a school day. Every day is a school day. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I might not smile much, but believe me, I'm happy enough. I'm not naturally a smiler. Kev, could I start a wee business? I'm not really that way inclined, mate, to charge people for taking them up. I would gladly take people up. You know, I don't need to be paid for it. Dreamer, I'll talk to you about that. I'll not talk to you about it here because it's a long conversation, but happy to engage with you on that one, mate. No problem. Cheers, Jojo. Yeah, guys, so that's the crack. That's where I'm at. I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to some tests and, you know, seeing where my fitness is. I know there's a couple of wee improvements I need to make. Uh, just on the miles, the cardio miles, I'm always fit, but the long ones are very different types of fitness. You have to get used to the pack again, you know, and the displacement of weight and stuff. You've got to get used to the pack. It changes your posture ever so slightly. you pull forward. I've got a really good quality pack, thankfully, and I know how to load that pack. And you've got to get used to it again. You've just got to get the miles in with the pack. So that's another wee thing that you build up. Remember, I said October, November for preparation. December, January, February, March, those cold, months, serious weather, exposure, snow, ice. You've got to be fit for that. But that's that's the cycle. That's what I'm saying when I say my clock's set by nature. I know. I don't need to look at a calendar. I know the months, the seasons tell me where I need to be. I know what's coming. Because I've done it so many times. I know what's coming. I know what's next. I know where I'm going to be in January. I know what part of Scotland I'm going to be in the first 2 weeks in February. I know where I need to be. I know where the light's the best. I know where the winds are the least. I know what's going on. Because I know what's out there. I know what Scotland's doing. Scotland's got multiple weather systems. You've got the Gulf Stream. You've got so many multiple weather systems. And you can only learn it by living it. Don't expect to learn it out of a book. That's not the way to learn. That's the way to slip up. You have to experience it. So the seasons tell me where I need to be and what I need to be doing. There you go. Right, it's been a pleasure. Don't even know what time it is. Been on for over an hour, I think. But very grateful as always for you joining in. It wouldn't work without you guys to talk to, so very grateful for it. Much obliged to y'all. Yeah, if anybody really does want to, get themselves up, I'm up the way moving down. I would happily, thank you very much. I would happily get any one of yous to Glencoe. Thank you, Pollyanna. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And once there, I'll lead. I'll provide the kit. Just a decent pair of boots or kind of 3-season, insertion shoe. A kind of decent shoe. Boots preferably. And a decent jacket. The rest we can work round. But I'll happily take anybody up. And I'll know very quickly if you're capable of getting up. And getting you up, remember, we have to get you back. So never be offended if I say calling time here and now. Because safety is always be the priority, guys. And you've got to kind of realise that things can go wrong very quickly. We know this. I'm just changing this battery. But aye, definitely, I'm happy to get a few people out, and I know that some people would only go if they had someone taking them. I'm fine with that. I completely understand that. I'm out there myself. I'm very comfortable myself. I've not got any fear of what's happening next. The weather doesn't terrify me. I'm kind of know it. I've experienced the worst of it, and it's part of the reason why I do it. But I never, ever, ever take it for granted, nor do I think I am an expert when it comes to Scottish weather, because you will very quickly realise you're not. Yeah, you don't underestimate Scotland. Scotland is an absolute killer of a place when it wants to be. All part of the fun. Well, guys, I'm going to get off now. And I'm going to have something to eat and finish sorting my kit out. But thanks for listening. Big Scopes, how you doing, Davy boy? Brilliant. Cheers, Rob. Thank you very much, Rob Olgoth. Rob, I'll see you soon. I'm down your way soon. Right, guys, listen. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate all you've been on here. Very, very grateful. And it's always easy talking when yous are talking back and commenting. You keep the flow going, keep the momentum going. So I appreciate that. Very grateful. High five. Yeah. You're right. There's a lot of things there, but I will enjoy the UFC. I'm going to be up late watching that. I won't pick I think a lot of people are picking I hope Dillashaw beats Sterling, and I hope, who else? Sugar Sean in it, Sugar Sean O'Malley. I'd love Dillashaw to beat Aljamain. I don't see Aljamain as a legit champion. Thank you, Liz E. Thank you, Liz. Appreciate that. Right, guys, take it easy. It's Friday, Saturday, isn't it? Have a good Saturday night, and have a good Sunday. And I'll get you a wee video going tomorrow. Okie doke. Jojo, all the best, my man. You take care. Cheers, guys. Night night. Thank you.